Good morning, everybody. Let's give it a little bit of time. I'll let everybody settle in, and then I'll get started. Biggest thing I just want to go over for me is just the Nasdaq and what's going on there, and we'll address that. We went from green last night, which was pretty big, pre-market to or post-market, I should say, to what we're dealing with now. And we'll get there and we'll figure it out. But just I think it's really important to understand that. Hold on one second here. Let me get this link up, and then we're good to go here. Let me just share this link in a couple places. And let me share it one more place, and then we're good to go. Okay. So let's begin, and hopefully you can hear me. So good morning, Anna. You ready to find some more options today? All right, let's get to it. So as people start to funnel in here, hey, Stefan. So let's just start and let's just get to it. The biggest thing I want to go over is this. Okay, this is pretty important to me. I don't want to even get into the indexes just yet, but let's just talk about what's happening this morning so that we can all kind of have a game plan going into this. And there's a reason, I'm going to tell you, you don't chase things when you're in this kind of environment. This is not where you chase. And what you can see happening this morning, pre-market, is this is your rising wedge. Okay, you've gone directly. I mean, this is almost could be in a textbook. So let me blow this up so we can focus on what's happened the past 5 or 6 days. Okay. So you've gone exactly to that level, right? You've gone exactly to the top of this morning or last night and rejected it. Okay. Since you rejected it, you're breaking this wedge line. So the next spot that you really need to watch for this, and I'm not saying that you're not going to hold, you very well could, but you need to watch 370. If you break through 370, you're probably going lower in the short term. Now, that doesn't mean that certain stocks can't rally. I have no interest in selling some of the names that I own. But what I'm saying is just be aware that this can roll and this can backfill and retest. And that's when you want to start looking at adding to positions, not on run-ups. And that where you're located right now in the market, this is a pullback buying opportunity. This is not, you don't panic sell, but you certainly don't buy stocks that are ripping higher here. So, I mean, that's the most important thing I have for everybody to go over this morning is this is a pullback. You need to watch this level. If you hold this level, it's probably a buying opportunity. If you snap it, you need to be careful. Now, that said, that also coincides with what? Okay. That also coincides directly with your 50-day moving average, right? And I'll blow this up even more because this is important. Okay. Let's get rid of this because I don't care about that. But you're sitting right on that line. So in other words, if I break this, that means I'm below the 50-day. So I better darn well get back over the 50-day by the end of the day. This is the weakest market. I'm going to make life really easy for people. This is the one you need to focus on today. Okay. If you focus on what's going on here with IWM, okay, this one looks fine. You look fine here. This is not an issue. Okay. The SPY looks fine. Not an issue. So that's really what I want to go over today. You need to hold that 370 level. I don't care what it does pre-market. I don't care if it breaks the pre-market or not, but you need to watch that level and see what happens. And of course, you're going to see weakness in some of the big names as this happens. Tesla pulling back off of trying to get over this level. Frankly, I really don't care. I still like the name, and you could be using this if it pulls back drastically as a buying opportunity. So that's really what I have to go over. And then if you want me to start going over names, so I'm more than happy to. So let's just start. Good morning, everybody. A lot of people on here already. Fuel cell. Let's just jump into it here. So fuel cell, this is one that we've been watching or been asked to watch, and same level, $8. Okay. It's the same level you want to watch. Until you're over that, I don't see any reason to get involved or do anything, but you want to get over that level. So that's where I would focus. In regards to other names, that are out there, I'm watching this today pretty closely. If you look at this with the indicators, you can clearly see how this is breaking down. Right? I mean, this does not look great at all. It looks like it could break today. So, something to watch if you're in there. In regards to, some of the larger names, just watch them. Just be very careful today and watch how they do. So far, Apple's gotten to the 50-day and then rejected. So that's telling you that you have an issue there and something that you want to, be aware of. So, you want to just keep watching these and seeing what's going on. It's a really tough spot in the market. It's not the spot where you want to, be right here. You want to be buying dips and looking for breakouts on these names. And you can see that through this. And I know I'm showing a lot right here, but it's important to understand that, that's not going to go away. So just consider that. Hey, Gail, Affirm. So in regards to Affirm, I mean, you tried to break out the other day, right? Now we can close this off for a moment and just look. You tried to break out. You didn't. You came back. You need to watch this level today. If you break that level, you might come back down and retest the 8-day. Doesn't mean the move's over. It just means that that's really where you could head to. So you're going to have to watch that. And it looks like you're going to try and do that this morning. Maybe shake everybody out, off that break, and then come back down. But you have to really see what the opening price is, right? Not just rely on what we see pre-market. Okay, there's a very large difference between what's going to happen and what they're doing pre-market. Always is. But this wick was not exactly what you were looking for. I mean, you got above this level and then you broke down, and you have these other levels over here, right? 138, 146, and that's really what you're shooting for. That's what you're trying to get to. And you keep stepping up, so it looks great. But if you take this off, you can even see the island reversal gap. So there's very little to do here. I like it a lot, but you just have to watch it. So Nvidia, let's go to Nvidia. So really quickly, here you are, you're 8, here you are again, and here, right? And this is a megaphone pattern. It's trying to be, I should say. And it broke down to the downside, which kind of lets you know which way it's leaning. I wouldn't be chasing this here. The one thing I said about semis is they're either going to go or they're not here. And the larger cap names look to be of issue. So again, you're breaking the rising wedge, and this looks like it's going to roll and retest. So I don't see a sense in doing anything until I get back down to this level, and then maybe from there I roll and then go higher. But I wouldn't be chasing Nvidia here. See, Citigroup, that whole sector is starting to look better. Like they are going to raise rates, right? That's how they're starting to trade again. Now I don't believe it, but that's how we're trading. And look, if you just look at it from this perspective, we can all see that we're above all the moving averages here, right? So let's clean that up and let's open this up. And now let's just draw a couple lines so that you can see what's really going on here. Okay. That's where you're at. I mean, that's pretty pivotal spot, right? So if you're at 71.67 and that you might, and that's where you just happen to close, what are we looking for here? What are we truly looking for? Well, we're looking for this. We need a break over that level. Okay, that's really what you're looking for. If you get a higher high here versus this, that's really what you want to see. And then you can kind of trade up from there. Now this line, really, we don't need that there. We can put it up here, but you can see where you would go, right? And then this might be an issue, but your goal is to get back to here. But could these go now? Yeah, they could move. That you could see them continue to move towards the end of the year, and see how that plays out. CCL. So, the cruise lines, I mean, everybody's vaccinated that wants to be vaccinated at this point, right? I mean, when you really think about it that way, everyone's vaccinated. They're going to go on these trips. They're not going to stop. I mean, if this sector was going to blow up, it would have blown up. That's my sense of it. So you have to kind of think that way. Now, you have a rising wedge, okay, and then you usually break to the downside. You didn't break to the downside. Here, look. Here's your rising wedge, right? You really didn't break to the downside on it, did you? I mean, you kind of bounced around on it, but eventually you found your way. And then you got above this, and now you're starting to push. So, and you're also starting to see travel restrictions lifted in the US. And it's really important to see that. And look, you really need to run here. It could really run. It could get back up to 31, 32. It could, especially how you're doing right here, right? You see how you're above that 200-day moving average? I mean, that's exactly where you want to be. Let's look at the volume for a moment. You see how your volume's picking up? So if this is doing well, right, this whole sector tends to move like that. This is the most leveraged out of the three names. So if one's going to move, this usually moves the most. But that means that this whole space probably is going to start moving, right? And you're starting to see that with jets, and you're starting to see this stuff start to take off a little bit. And that's probably what you're going to continue to see. You're probably going to continue to see some of this stuff start to lift. So just based upon that. But in regards to your CCL question, you can buy this, and this is a major, major level that I have here on the fibs. From the top, this is from the break to this is the swing high, right? All the way to the swing low, right? And what you're going to see here across the board is you just broke above another fib level. And now you have this gap. See how some fib levels are shorter and then some are larger? Just the way it is. But you're in a good space here technically, and this could continue. I'm not a huge buyer of these names, but I get this. I get this here. I do. So that's pretty much it for CCL. Let's keep going. Good morning, Boca. AMD I have on my list on top 10 this week. It has to do something. If it doesn't do it, I'm not interested. Last time we made $1 on it, just get out of the way. People weren't, obviously people don't get thrilled about making $1, but the bottom line with it is you didn't lose money, on the trade. And frankly, I think that you're in pretty good shape here, but you have to see how this plays out. You are on a wedge line, and you're a wedge between the 50-day and the 21-day. And, you don't have earnings for a while, right? You don't have earnings for a month, but you do have Micron coming out this week. And Micron can affect the whole tech sector. It can affect the whole semiconductor sector. So consider that. Could be one of the reasons why you're even seeing weakness in some of these names. Some people might think that it's going to be worse than they think. You just don't know. But I like it on the break above the 21-day and above that wedge line. If we can get above both of those right now, I definitely have interest in this. But, you have to see, and you have to see what you're going to do. And again, you really need to watch these levels today that I gave you earlier. They're very important today, probably more important than usual. Hey, Terry, looking for leaders. In your opinion, Marvel, also analysts have put a food price target on AEHR. Well, I don't know about the price targets. Let's go through Marvel, and then we'll do AEHR. So in regards to what you're seeing here, right? My issue is this, Terry, and this is really what I look for, okay? I look at price action probably more than most people, and I just want to see how stocks react to levels. And by understanding how they react at levels, it gives you an edge over everybody else, okay? And you're constantly looking for an edge. See how we constantly keep rejecting? It's why I keep pushing this candlestick video. And I know it's not the greatest quality because it was like one of the first videos I ever did. In my free time, I may redo it, but I'm working on an advanced candlestick one right now. But you see how these are moving? Okay. That's really what you're looking for. So, you really have to see that you're rejecting up here. No matter how much you want it to go, and I want it to go, you're rejecting and you're stuck in between this red bar. That's your range. And until you break out of that, I don't think you go near it. AEHR, in regards to this, look, I've said this before on this name. I think that you can easily see this break out here. Okay, I do. And I think it's very telling that I don't know if it's going to 40. I have no idea. But I think there's a couple of things here that you need to look at. Okay, the very first thing for me is understanding that right here, okay, we had earnings and they were obviously better than we thought. And then coming into it, everybody decided they were buying and said, oh, I'm going to play for this month's earnings. And they got in, right? And they did fairly well. And then they just stayed in the trade. Okay. The point I'm getting at with this is that now that they're in this trade and they're staying in the trade, right? What you have to focus on, or what I'm going to focus on, are a couple key things. This range now became my range. Okay. Breaking out of this range will have my attention. Gapping, filling, and then basing and going higher will have my attention. So there's a couple different spots to buy this, but that's really what you're looking for. And the fact that they came up with earnings a second time and exceeded expectations took everybody off guard. And I think that's why you're getting the high target prices on the stock. Square. So in regards to Square, let's see here. Okay. What you're seeing here is you're just kind of fighting through that. And I don't see any, there's nothing here that's telling you got to rush into this, right? You're breaking here. Okay. You just need to watch and wait. Right? That's what you're dealing with. So there's really very little to do here. I mean, maybe if you break that wedge line, you could buy it, but until you do that and realize that you're still going to have issue up here. So I don't know if you're looking for a trade out of it for 20 points, because that's there, right? Look, I mean, you could make an argument that breaking this and getting above that gets you up to here. But until that happens, I wouldn't go near this, especially with the rejection here that you're seeing. How are we doing this morning? Yeah, I mean, you're below the 50-day. Probably not the spot you want to buy it, right? Because if that breaks and it follows the market, which it seems to be following the Nasdaq, you're probably heading back down to 239, 240. So, and these can sell back down. I've been trying to hammer that point home. Hey, Lorenzo. NAKD and Nerve. So I usually don't play like these smaller ones. I know people love this name for whatever reason. Look, here's your wedge line. If you break out over one of these highs, you might get a spike like this. So, I'm not usually trading these kinds of names, but if you want a level, that's it right there. Right? You want to get over that. I mean, you can even see how it rejected there this morning, right? So you want to get over one of these higher highs. If you get over this, you can see some kind of power move like that. That can happen. Okay. Just like you saw here. Okay. It definitely can happen. And I'm not saying that these kinds of names don't work. I mean, they can work. There was one that somebody gave me. I just never did. I didn't do anything with. Something like this. Could this squeeze? Yeah, you're going to get up to here. 260. That's really where you've been battling this 200-day forever. So, I mean, sometimes these work. Look at this one, right? I mean, this worked. People bought this super cheap, got in it. And sometimes they work, but you have to treat them like options. And something like this, you have to realize that you're going to respect this 200-day. You have to assume you're going to respect that 200-day moving average. So that leads you to what? That this is really where I'm going to wind up. Okay. And that's really what you want to focus on. So just consider that. AEHR, we did. Hopefully you saw it. CMG. So Chipotle Mexican Grill, look, let's clean all this up. for a moment, and we can always put them back. Let's get rid of all our annotations. So you're in a trading range. Okay. This is a slow mover that does this on earnings. I mean, that's probably earnings again, right? Yep. So earnings go one of two ways for this company. It either ends badly and leads to descending, or you explode up, right? There's very little in between here with what happens on earnings. So what you have to look for is, what are we going to do about it? Well, the way to play this is to look at these levels and see how you act to them, right? Now, the level I just put in here, you can see how you rejected, closed, got above, and now you're using it as support. So this probably holds, but this is a grind, and you have to buy it as such. Like, you have to buy it and realize that you're just going to stay in it, not that you're going to try and trade this around. This is very difficult to trade around. You have to kind of buy it and forget you own it. Very similar to how I would trade a Google. Very similar to how I would trade Google, but it can work. There's a lot of potential there. BBIG. So that was in the top 10 list this week. For those that haven't watched that video, I'd recommend that you watch it. Some of the smaller cap names in there that we've been doing over the past couple of weeks are just crushing it. Look, here's the issue. You're up over 15% in a weak market. Is that something you really want to chase right now? Probably not. Right? You probably want to wait and see if it comes down. Now, I was looking at it pre-market, and I was looking at where I had my levels, and this is the one that I would be really interested in. If you could get up to here, right over that 662, and you can come back down to there, maybe I would look at trying it. Up here, I have no interest, right? I've already rejected the 8, which is right, just happens to be right where what is. Right? The 8 just happens to be right where the 21 is, and I rejected it. So that doesn't give me a real warm fuzzy for wanting to jump in there and, up 15% pre-market. So I would hold off on that and kind of see where you go from there. Now, you're welcome, Lorenzo. I'm not saying they won't work. They absolutely can work. Let's see here. ARQQ. I knew there was another one. So you're bidding up today a little bit. I saw that. Look, maybe you hold the 8 day and you flip it. Maybe you don't. To me, it looked washed out, right? I actually tried to trade up here, and it was up like $2, $3, but I was trying to stay in it longer, so I just broke even on it. But it could you curl here? Could you start to curl? Yes, absolutely you could. I'm not so sure that it's going to happen. So I need a day to develop, right? Give me an inside day here. Give me a day to develop, and then I can start looking at whether or not where the battle leads. Does it lead to the upside, or does it lead to the downside, right? That's what we want to see. We want to see where the battle leads and then go from there, okay? So just consider that it's hard to make a decision on that right now. MDB, I like, Michael. Cool photo. Cool sword. MDB. So, the issue I've been saying here, let's get rid of this. I've been talking about this level forever. I just wanted to break this level, and I have an interest. Now, you have window dressing this week. So if I wanted everybody to think that I was doing good and I was in a fund, MDB might be one that I'd want to buy, right? Because it had great earnings, and I might want my investors to think that I've been in it for a while. So you might see this go this week. So this could go. It's definitely on my short list. I'll leave it at that. I do like it, and I think it could go. Hey, Franklin. So let's go. Ford, I'll go over, and then I want to go over X, and because it's a completely different idea, and I'll walk you through the issues. Ford, I love. I broke above the 50-day. I got to the 200. I've been saying this is the area to buy it. And so, as always, man plans, God laughs, because, I'm waiting for it to hit here, and that's not going to happen. You need to just buy this and forget you own it. I mean, I've been saying that for months now, and it's still not right. But let's get rid of this data, and I'll show you. This is the monthly. And I always show this when people ask about Ford. This is a 21-year break, okay? 21 years. Now, there's one thing you need to understand about Ford, right? No matter what car company you're looking at, no matter what electric car company you're looking at, okay, all the pre-orders combined for EVs don't come close to what Ford has for pre-orders. All the other car companies combined do not have what Ford has for pre-orders, period. It's just that simple. So that tells you who's winning this, right? And their Bronco and F-150 are going to fly off the shelf. I don't know if you've looked at those cars or what's going on there, but that's serious. And let's get technical now. But see how you're holding above this level and you're holding above your 8-month? See how you're forming a wedge? This was an evening star, and you couldn't even complete the evening star. You only came halfway down the bar. Now, this bar needs to end this month. If this bar ends here, right? If this bar ends here and you have about 3 days left, 4 days left, 27th, 30 days in September. So you got 3 days left here, right? See this range? Okay. You need to watch this range, because if, and I mean this, if you form this inside bar here and then have an outside bar here, this is probably going to go. So that's really what I would look at to trade that. Other than that, but you can just buy it and forget about it. I think it's a double in a year or two. I really do. I don't think it's one you even have to worry about. I just think it's something that you could buy and forget that you own, frankly. X, let's talk about this for a minute. So, this is a very big week for the government, right? In regards to passing an infrastructure bill, debt ceiling, all these other bills they're trying to pass. The chances of these bills getting passed are very, very thin. And so to me, just based upon that, I understand they're coming out saying, oh, we're going to pass it. They're going to pass something that's very, very thin. That's not what they wanted to pass. And it's going to be, half of what you thought. So to me, even if they pass something, I think that this could get absolutely hammered. The infrastructure bill is not going to be what we think it's going to be. It's just not. And they're not going to be able to get it through. So just consider that. And I think that this could have way more downside. You're not even able to close above the 200-day anymore. So that tells you, people have just given up on this. EOG. So that acts great. Here's your level, 77.12, and you're above it. I don't know if we have anything pre-market. Yeah, I mean, look, this can go. This could easily get back up to here. Utility, right? It's utility or energy. I forget which one it is, but this looks like it could trade right back up to here. Yeah, I don't see any reason why you can't get back up to this level. Maybe you have an issue at this bar here at 85, but this should just grind higher over time. Should be a no-brainer. It's a nice trade, Isaiah. Affirm and UPST. I did Affirm. Let's do UPST. So the issue with this name is just the fact that it's moved up so much so fast. So you've been unable, here's what I would say. You've been unable to close below the 8-day moving average. I use a simple moving average, not an EMA, which is fine. Whatever you use. But I use this. And not one day have we closed below it. Not one. Okay. So again, I think if you get to 314, maybe you look at buying it. I would not be buying it up here. It doesn't appeal to me. But if I got here and I wanted to see if it held, maybe I give it a try. But look, you can't rule out this company just doing a secondary one day. I mean, they've done it in the past. And if they do a secondary, it'll be pretty ugly. So I don't know, Dale. I don't know where Justin is. TLO. So Miguel, here's your wedge and you're stuck in here. What you want to look for is any break above the 68.71, right? Close above it. You've only done that once still, right? Twice actually. So right now you just need to get above 70 and you're having a heck of a time. And these bars are telling you that you have rejection all over the place. So I'd be careful here. I'd be really careful. All these wicks to the upside, you see how they all point on the upside? I mean, that's telling you that you have selling up here. So you really want to watch that. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. AN and ZIP. So The thing with Hassan is, for me, again, I look at the simple moving averages. Okay. I haven't closed below this once. If I close below this, it's not really where I want to be. Right. It means that probably my trade's over. My hope is that I break out and go to the upside. I don't know that that's what's going to happen here. This had a huge move, and the way that this is widening out here leads me to believe that we're going to move violently one way or another. From the newsletter in the community, we're in at $69. I moved the stop to 115 to give it some room to see if it undercuts and then goes. But I like it. I do like the name still. But am I buying it here? No, I would not buy it here. Would I buy the dip? No. It really needs to either break out or fall apart for me to have an interest at this point. Either one, and I could look at trading it. But just in the middle. Like in the middle does very little for me, right? Like it's just not a place where I want to be in the middle. It just doesn't work for me. So, and that's really where you're at there. Zip. So let's get rid of this. Okay. Oops. There we go. All right. So Zip, here's your level, right? We put this level in before. We hit it, reject it. Bonk. Bonk, right? So where are you looking for? You need to get above and close above 28.50. If you do that, this could continue to go. But you need to do that first. And right now you're having a heck of a time at that level. But that's your level. That's where you're at, 28.50. Until then, there's nothing to do. So let's see. Amazon, kind of, but how does it look to you? Janice, I'm not so sure that we're going to see that by year's end. You're going to have to kind of watch how this plays out here. To me, I think that they could have some issues. So I think there could be some issues here. You're really having a hard time. Let's get rid of all these lines for a moment. So let's just go through exactly what's going on here, right? Here's your 50-day moving average. You're having a heck of a time with that line. And you're breaking this wedge line right here. So if you look at this from here over, okay, you better not break this, because if you do, you could be heading back down to here. As I've been saying, it's very possible that if you break that 370 level, that you're going to retest some of these levels. So, you have to understand that and plan accordingly. So it can happen. Hey, Zane. So Facebook, for me, I had a short on it. The short didn't work. I'm gap filling here. There's a whole article in the New York Times about this company, and it's interesting, but I don't know, that the chart's telling me that maybe it's not going to go down. Maybe I'm going to bounce up to here and then reverse. So, I don't know, but you definitely saw short covering. Without a doubt, you definitely saw short covering in the name. So it's definitely something to look at, but not something that I'm not interested in being long this. If you take out this higher high today, right? Like if you did take out this higher high today, you're probably going to see buying. You're probably going to see people step up and buy it. Mara, cup and handle. Yeah, I mean, Mara's going to move how Bitcoin moves. Okay, I mean, it's really that simple. To me, I don't see anything compelling about getting involved in this right here, Shane. I just don't see anything that is remotely interesting in that. I just don't see it. You're wedged in between two lines. How is this going to go higher and Bitcoin goes down? Right? You need Bitcoin to go up, or it just doesn't work. And you're starting to see cracks in those crypto names. So I wouldn't be rushing into this. I don't see any reason to assume that this is going to go back to here anytime soon. I don't see anything telling me that. So It's not something I'd be playing with. In regards to fun, that one I looked at, and I like this wedge line, and I really like this break. I really like how close this 200-day has been, and now it's pointing up, and we're over, and we're emphatically over. We're over all these lines. I mean, that's really what you want to see, right? So what does that get me? Right? What does that really get me? Let's look at the monthly. Okay. This is not on the monthly something that is going to really hammer me home that I have to be in. To me, it's pretty clear that I'll be lucky to get above 50. Okay, that's how I look at the monthly. So you've broken down here in a bear flag. You have a rising wedge on it, and you're attempting it, but you're going to have to see how it plays out. To me, I'd be surprised if we get above 50, but I like it. So good morning, Laura. ASML, let me just take a look at that. Is it really down that much pre-market? I don't know why it's it's not in the newsletter anymore. It's why I didn't check it this morning. Look, when this bids down like that, unless there is a secondary or something like that I don't know about, and I haven't had time to go through all my news. I rarely go through it all in the morning. If I'm down here, right, and I open down here, sometimes you actually want to buy it on the break. I'm not going to lie. I mean, this is kind of where you buy it sometimes, and then it trades flat by the end of the day, or 2 days later, it trades flat. This is really kind of where you step to the plate and put a position on in it, and then just, set some type of pattern up and look for a way in it. But this is really where this is really where you buy it. Would I panic sell it here? Look, I'm not a big panic seller person, right? My issue with this would be relatively simple. You can see the wedge line developing here, right? If you break this level, you're going to have an issue, because now you're breaking, right, lower highs, and you're breaking lower lows. Then you're going to have an issue. I'm not crazy that these lines are here and they're pointing that way, but again, this is when you buy it, right? And you do okay with it. So I'm not so sure I'd be selling here. I'd probably be on the other side of that, looking for a pattern today that I could buy it. Look at Ford's EVs on their pre-sale. That's what I'm saying, Dale. Look at their pre-sale on their EVs of their Bronco and their F-150s versus every other company combined. CPE. So you can see where you're heading, right? You should be getting up to this level. This 56. So that can happen. You are curling again. And this was a big mover. And it broke out the other day here. So you are starting to see energy names move a little bit, aren't you? Right? So maybe they head back up. Bank of America had a statement. It was either Bank of America or Goldman, where they said they see energy prices running towards the end of the year because it's going to be cold. So consider that. And gas is just through the roof. Someone showed me a picture of gas in California. It's like $8, $8.50. Like, it's just insanity to me. So, you're welcome, Isaiah. We've been assured. I wouldn't short it. I mean, could you? If the market got super bad, again, which I don't think happens, but I think there's much better short positions out there. Could it go to 314? Sure, Brett. If you're looking for a quick trade, yeah, it could go to 314. Hey, Justin. There it is. There you go, Dale. You found them. What am I looking at today? I mean, the biggest ones I'm looking at I'm really looking at this BBIG. I think there's a trade here still. I don't think the trade's over. I'm not buying it up like this. So not in this kind of tape. I think Tesla, I'm looking at that today. I think if I can get back to 765, I'm probably going to add to my position. That's what I'm looking at. This Bros I'm looking at. I'm watching this very closely. I think this has the potential to go again. This what else? BNTX I'm looking at. So I think that this is setting up to break. So that's really what I'm focused on today more than anything. That AEHR, but I'm not sure I'm going to get that today. Let me just keep going through this. Would you look at BA? Sure. So I'm not a huge Boeing fan. To me, there's a lot of issues here. Very rarely will I get involved in a stock that is below the 200-day moving average. I know people will look at this 821 and get excited by it. I'm not interested. So to me, I would just watch this. I'm not overly interested in this until I would get over this level again. There's a lot of issues here, and we keep hitting higher lows over and over again. So it's not something I'd be rushing into. If you're looking for a trade, that's a completely different story. I like it, Jordo. I mean, I'm looking for it to break out. I mean, look, the thing with Texas Instruments is simple. I'm looking for it to break out. Now, if that doesn't happen here, right, and you pull to this level, this 197.50 level, you could use that as a buy, right? And then if you close below it, just blow it out. Right. I mean, you could do that here. You could buy it here with using that as a position, and then see if you're fortunate enough for it to trade up. So hold on one second. It means stay in order. BBIG I like. I'm just not buying it while it's bidding up, Randy. I'm not chasing this. So if it opened here, yeah, 661, 662, yeah, sure. But up $1, no, thank you. I mean, that's usually like a setup. So it just has me watching. Please look at ATER. Hey, Ken. Yeah, I mean, look, here's your level. Get above this level, and I talked about this last night. If I get above this level, I actually have an alert on it. If I get above this level and open above this level, I can get to this wedge line. I could go up to $3. I mean, that is possible. So that's, trade might not be done, right? There might be a trade there. So you're going to have to take a look at that, see how it goes. CELH. So I like CELH, and I actually thought it was going to rip on Friday, and then it did not. But, caveat, I have a small position in it, but from here, I do think it can go. I mean, you're clearly above this line now. Like there's no question about the fact that you're above this trend line, and you closed at an all-time high. So to me, it's just a matter of time for this to rip again. That's really how I look at it. I don't really have any, compunction that it's not going to rip again. So, you're welcome, Zane. IRNTSFIX. So, I mean, to me, look, you can look at these little levels that I have here or not, but let's just get rid of this. I mean, if you were to look at this now, you have to kind of change where your fib levels are, right? So, I mean, if you took like this, the high, and let's just take this low, okay? And you kind of see what you're dealing with. You can kind of see where your 29 is, right? Like you can see how they fall, right? Because that's really all you have to work on. So for that, I have a bear flag here. So to me, I still got to get above $29 before it does anything. I'm kind of in limbo here in the middle, and I don't really like trades like that. So it's something that I would avoid. Sorry, I left that open and block that. But it's something I would avoid. SFX, I mean, look, they had great earnings. I don't know how high this thing can go. I mean, for me, it's been the same thing I've been talking about. You need to break this level. Okay, 43.79. Maybe you do it. This was earnings, right? And this was your reaction on earnings. And then you based for a couple of days, knocked around, right? And then you broke out again. And then you're not unable to get above that level. So maybe you get above this level. And if you do today, it could go. So, but GOEV. Hi, Susan. So GOEV. What you're seeing is this trend line. What I liked about this trade was this volume was just absolutely insane. So my hope is that, that continues. And if I see a break above that level, you might want to trade it because I think you'll go right to that level. I think there's 2 points there. I mean, I'm not looking for the world, a $9 stock, 2 points. It's 27%. So, I'll take that all day long. PayPal. Yeah. I mean, PayPal is PayPal, right? Like it's just not doing anything. You're not doing anything. And last quarter's earnings were not, didn't really react very well. So, you reacted well here to earnings, but since then, it's not been great. So, and you're looking toppy. A lot of these big, large cap names are starting to look toppy. And, you're starting to see money funnel in a little bit to these smaller cap names right now. So I pay attention to that. But again, this looks pretty toppy to me. I'm not saying you can't trade it. I'm not saying there's not a trade there, but there's a lot of work that needs to happen here. So definitely not before the 50 or the 21 day. I agree, Diane. I agree. It's insane. Their demand's insane. If you look it up, Dale, it's like, it's crazy what their demand is. And no one's talking about it. I can go over leaps. I can go over leaps with you later today and find some. I'll just talk to you in the community about it. I need some time, but you could go out to 23 or further as far out as they go and take a look at them. They're really low beta. So it's, you're basically paying for time. So yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of open interest in those. It's a great trade. I mean, it's seriously, you're controlling the stock for like $2, $3, and you control a lot of stock for that amount of money. GOEV, but I have to go through them, Boca. I haven't done it in a while. So here you are, right? I think you're getting to this level. I do. I think you have the opportunity, but you have to flip it. Let's just keep going. SOFI. So I think you're there. So, I do like the fact that this is getting above that 200-day moving average and staying above that 200-day moving average, right? I like that. I do. I'm surprised I'm saying that because I'm not crazy about the company, but I trade price, and this is telling me that, hey, there's something here, right? There's definitely something here. Look, if I move this to the top of this, right, you can see where you closed. So you kind of understand where your level is, right? So really, if you're flipping 1780, you're probably going higher. Okay. And where I marked it off for somebody was saying, listen, if you get to 1780, you're probably going to $21. All right. So I'll give one that no one asked about. So like this has a decision to make. This has a big decision to make, and no one's really asked me about it. It's not one that it's in my top 3, but if I break this, I'm probably going to here. If I break out here, I'm probably going to 29. So you might want to just set alerts on this one and watch, because it looks this morning in a bad tape, right, that we're kind of trading up here. So there might be a trade here, right? If you gap over and then take this out, just get out of the stock. But if you gap here, you could go here and you could head back to these levels. So just consider that. Something to consider. Hey, Stefan. ARC, ZM, Roku. Well, one, I'm a huge Kathy Wood fan, so I don't ever rule her out. What I would say to you is it's pretty clear what's going on here, right? So let's get rid of all these indicators and all this data, and let's clean this all out, okay? So what's going on here is this was my peak, this was my valley, and now I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to wind up. But we're kind of already having a range, aren't we? Right? We're already kind of in a range, right? So if you look at this, you can see all the volume and price action in here and all the price action in here, right? So wouldn't it make sense to buy it down here and then sell it up here, right? And you just do it all day long? I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, how many times do you want it to do it, right? One time it broke. Okay. So, and then what happened? It restored it. So clearly you're seeing a level of where you should be a buyer, right? And you know, when you're in a market that's basing, you can play those levels. You can play support and resistance levels. You might want to remember that. You can play support and resistance levels when you're not basing. You're just trading. But what you're looking for here is you can't really look at your moving averages because you're flatlining in here, right? So they're not really adding any value. They're just annoying. I mean, do I wish I was above the 200-day? Yes, of course. But I don't, is it toast? No. Now, Roku has an issue, and that's becoming abundantly clear to me. And you know, look, we did a trade up here. I point this out for a reason. You know, for people that don't use stop losses, use stop losses. Like the fact that we broke out here, okay, and the fact that we broke out here, okay, we could go higher. That's what we thought, right? And then we sold out the reversal and we got out of the way. And we took a quick loss, but it was a loss. But look at what's happened since then. And then you tried to rally, failed, tried to rally over another line, failed. Like you're not done. You're not done going down. And now I have a death cross right here, right? Where the 200's crossing the 50. Like this is not where you want to be at all. So maybe you can trade up, maybe you can't. Right now, the 21-day seems to be saying no. So keep that in mind. ZM, let's go through ZM. We covered a lot of ground today. It's toast. It's done. I tried to trade on it for a bounce up here, and I got completely rejected. And look now. You know, this was something I put out a long time ago. Well, not a long time, about a week ago, I put it out for the community. But you know, you had to be, you had to look at these. And you know, I've been showing this, and a couple of people in the community actually did the trade where they short this, and they shorted it up here. Like I think At Home's done. I think if you look at what's going on right now, you're seeing At Home get crushed, and you're starting to see money flow into these kinds of names. Now, I'm not saying you're going to make the same kind of returns on these kinds of names, and I don't have any positions in these kinds of names because they're not my kind of trades. They're just not. You know, can they move? Absolutely. Look what happened after Biden lifted the travel restrictions, right? They all started going. So, MEOH. So, I mean, this broke out clearly. It looks great. Not much to say. I can get rid of this. I don't know what they do, but you look like you're heading to this level. 48. That's where it looks like it's going, Ethan. Looks good. Life, I have a small position in. You know, my stance on this has been the same. I have a position in this, and I'm just watching it bounce around. I think with this break and what we're seeing and how it's basing, that this could go higher. So I'm just leaving it on. I'm not trading it that much. You know, it's got some institutional support, not a lot, but I think there's something here. So I'm just going to hold on to it for a little bit and see how it bounces around. I'm not really concerned about these kinds of moves. Again, you know, I trade these smaller cap names a little differently. I trade them as if they're option plays. So I give them a much wider berth. And that, you know, means smaller position, but it also means that I have a higher probability of the trade working. A firm, I would not be entering here. You need to see this develop, right? You don't buy here. You need to watch that develop. I don't have a level for you right now. Maybe later in the day I do, but not right now. ANGI, flip 14. How far can it go? Getting through 1448 was where I had my level. Looks like we got through it. Now we're gapping down this morning. The volume's picking up. I mean, that's a solid move through the 200-day and follow through. Your next level is up here. I mean, this is where you're heading next. Up to here. You can get up to that level again, 17. Could it happen? Absolutely. It most certainly could happen. So, yep, I mean, that's my position on it. Oh, you're welcome, Stefan. DPZ, yeah, you could see another leg down. You could totally see another leg down. It broke the 50-day. Last time you broke your 50-day moving average was here. Every time you break that, it respects it and stays down until you get back over it. So I wouldn't go near this. It was an outright short at that level. So outright short at that level. So, oh, you're welcome, MA. All right, everybody, I am out of here. Everyone have a great day. If you need me, as always, and you don't want to go over anything, just email me there. All right? Take care.